Beware the power of tribe. We human beings have an inherent flaw that is easily exploited by those who are willing to hurt people to benefit themselves. It's our tendency to sort ourselves into tribes. In Germany in the 1930s, Adolf Hitler and the Nazis convinced Christian Germans that their economic suffering was caused not by the runoff from World War I, but rather by their Jewish neighbors, friends, and coworkers. By the time the Second World War was over, 6 million European Jews had been systematically slaughtered. For 100 days in 1994, tribalism caused Hutus and Tutsis in Rwanda, who are barely different ethnically, but whose class distinctions were exploited by their Belgian colonizers to try and kill each other off. In the end, some 800,000 men, women, and children were massacred, often by people they knew. In our country, the economic ambitions of the European men who broke from the British crown left millions of black and indigenous people either dead in the Middle Passage, massacred on their own land, or enslaved, while the newly minted Americans used their Christian faith to justify kidnapping, beating, breeding, and selling black adults and children. Male slave owners freely raped the black women they claimed ownership over and without a second thought often sold their own resulting children. Tribalism makes monsters of men. So beware the leader who exploits it to secure his own power. We've seen very few images of actual Black Lives Matter protests over the police shootings and killings of black people. But we get lots of images of the aftermath of those protests. Businesses and police cars burning, looting, fighting, and armed men firing on protesters, almost all at night. And the assumption is too often made that these two things are one thing, that the protests are fueling the violence. But that is a lazy assumption. In any controversial event that you see, particularly in a political season, always ask yourself, who benefits? In this case, who benefits if lots of white voters believe that Black Lives Matter is threatening and violent? No one more than Donald Trump. Trump is losing to Joe Biden, full stop. So to sneak back in through the Electoral College, he needs to win back those American Brexit states that put him over the top in 2016. So his fixation on Kenosha in Wisconsin is relevant. Or he needs to add a new state to his map. This Sunday alone, he posted more than 6 dozen tweets harping on fringe polls showing him winning Michigan and praising his supporters who were showing up armed with AR-15s, the murder weapon of choice for mass shooters, at protests in Portland, Oregon. So let's be clear. If Trump wanted to end the violence in American cities, he could simply go on his Twitter feed and tell his supporters to go home. It's a personality cult, so they would do whatever he says. There is no anarchist group on the left who listens to Joe Biden. There's no Antifa for Biden-Harris armed militia. So this is not a both sides thing. But Trump is openly doing the opposite, encouraging more violence and cowing his party into refusing to condemn the violence, while his media friends laud the Kenosha shooter because they all know that that's Trump's only chance of winning, with 200,000 Americans estimated dead by Election Day, and the post office and the economy in tatters. It's to drive the coronavirus off the front page. That's the best they can do. Now, Trump plans to go to Kenosha tomorrow, but not to try and calm the city or to bring comfort to Jacob Blake's family or the families that as he lies paralyzed in the hospital, or to Jacob Rosenbaum or Anthony Huber, the families of those two men who were killed allegedly by the teenage Trump supporter in Kenosha. But rather, he's going to meet with law enforcement. And based on past behavior, we can assume to hype up his followers even more. Maybe he'll even hold a COVID rally. We know that white supremacist groups are organizing online and swarming these protests, often fully armed, to whip up violence and mayhem. White nationalists have been arrested for breaking windows, starting fires, getting into fights, and yes, shooting and killing people. And their ranks have only grown. They've grown 55% since Trump's first year in office, 2017. Meanwhile, the arrests of Black Lives Matter protesters have been mainly for things like breaking curfew. There is no both sides here. This is not even new in America. In 1991, David Duke took off his Klan robe, put on a business suit, and ran for governor of Louisiana, whipping up fears of black people, crime, and taxes as his argument for why Louisianans should elect him. Now, thankfully, he lost because black voters came out in droves, but he did get 55% of the white vote. Duke was so hyped for Trump's 2016 campaign, he bragged that they share the same supporters, and he ran for the Senate and lost again. Preying on white voters' tribal loyalties and fears has been used from the bullhorn of Nixon's Southern strategy to George Wallace's 3 presidential bids. The French kiss of anti-blackness was even evident in Reagan's welfare queens, Bill Clinton's sister soldier moment, and the Willie Horton ads that helped elect George H.W. Bush. It wasn't even about these men's personal views on race. It was a campaign tactic that tends to actually work. Trump is just re-upping the strategy, just like the alt-right recycled David Duke's khaki white nationalism before they got exposed in Charlottesville. Black Lives Matter is Trump's Willie Horton, even though the violence he's luxuriating in these cities is largely white on white and perpetrated by his supporters. It's a campaign tactic, y'all. He's pimping tribalism for votes. Black Lives Matter is no threat to the suburbs. A lot of the multiracial groups marching for Black lives are from the suburbs.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.